We have plans to restore the dignity of the payslip. We have plans to restore the health systems. We have plans to restore the education system. We have planned to have justified taxation and proper utilization of collected taxes. But all those things we have plans to stop abductions. We have plans to stop extrajudicial killings. All those things, Michelle, cannot happen when William Ruto is in office because he's the one who has messed the country. All his plans are responsible for the shit we are in as a country, for the hole we are in as a country. For those plans to take place, plan number one is William Ruto must exit the space, and then all the other plans can work. And that is why he says we have no plan, because the plan that we have is to exit him. Ordinarily, he wouldn't like it, and I don't want to blame him for it. But I want to say we have plans, but it's a prerequisite for all these plans to work, for us to stop corruption, for us to stop tribal appointments, for us to restore the dignity of the payslip, for us to restore education, the university financing model that can work, for us to restore health care and make sure that things are working. President William Ruto must be sent home. That is our plan. That is the plan of Gen Z. Indeed, it's a plan by the people of Kenya. As we go around the country, I heard him today crying about one term. There's nothing he can do. Okay. That is the clarion call, one term. We must have reasonable taxation. Michelle, the housing levy. Nobody wants government to construct houses for you. That's not the work of government. The work of government, Michelle, is to do roads, water, electricity, sewage, and create a good environment by provision of security. It's not the work of government to build houses. Michelle, you'll build your own house, depending on your capacity and your ability, So we are taxing people money to go and build houses that they don't need. Nobody is interested in that housing program. So that one we are going to scrap. We are going to scrap that the housing levy so that we start giving a relief to the payslip. The issue of NSSF, it's something that needs to be discussed. You cannot impose, force people to save, because people are saving on their own, by the way. And saving is an individual decision, Michelle. You may want to live your good life now when you are young and energetic, and you cannot force people to save. So that is something else we are going to look into. Again, Michelle, we want to tax people, and people have no problem with the taxation. What people want is proper utilization of their taxes. We don't want to tax people to go and put up renovate state house and lodges for William Ruto. Those state houses have been there since 1900. He is spending billions of shillings renovating that state house like he's going to live there forever, or like it's his personal house. It isn't. We are saying that our administration will have reasonable taxation and will do proper utilization of those taxes to the benefit and satisfaction of the people of Kenya. Right. So that I explain to you exactly what is happening. William Ruto was elected by 47% of the people from the Mount Kenya region. Along the way, he betrayed the mountain people, he misused them, he lost their trust, and they abandoned him. He has tried every trick in the book to get them back, and it has become difficult. He has spent billions of shillings in empowerment programs, buying leaders and all that. It has become impossible. So a plot was hatched by Kipchumba Murkomen and a few other people surrounding the president to create havoc within the Mount Kenya region and then blame it on leaders who are popular in the region. This is what happened, Chair. How do you explain police stations are manned by police officers who are armed? They are attacked by people who are unarmed. They overpower them, take over a police station and touch it. It's a movie. No shooting, nothing. No resistance. Some people just walk into a police station, take it over and touch it. That is, and you are not even told the inmates who are in the cells, were they released or not? There is nothing. It was staged managed. This is what happened. Let me give you an example in Kikuyu. The office of the DCC was touched. The locals were touched. They are guarded by police. Somehow the police were not there, and the torching went on. Then the leader of majority says, some gangs wanted to attack his father, who is 101 years, but he was not attacked. It was just an attempt, but he was not attacked. Yet the police station, the law courts are attacked. Higher, you go to Nyeri. They burn Naivas supermarket of some fellow there in Nyeri town. But the supermarket owned by the member of parliament for Kenny, there is an attempted attack, but it is not attacked because it is personal. It is not meant to be attacked. It's just something you are trying to do. Then you find here in Nairobi, at night, all businesses owned by people from the Mount Kenya region are attacked. Okay? You find that several businesses are attacked. Police are there. Nobody is arrested. Nobody is stopped. It's simply an onslaught on the community. Then the CS Interior comes and says, the goons in Nairobi were stranded, they were from Murang'a, they were from Nyeri, they were from Kirinyaga, trying to profile a community to show that this issue that happened in Nairobi was done by the people from the Kikuyu nation. Okay? Then the following day, go to parliament. The scheme was turn the people of Central Kenya against Rigathi Gachagua and other leaders who are popular in the region. That is why they attack in Olkalau. People have told us in Olkalau, all the goons who are there, none of them is a local. Yet they did it, police never did any action. This thing was managed by government to target Kikuyu business premises. And then later, Moses Wetangula allowed a debate in parliament for 2 hours to blame Rigathi Gachagua, to blame John Medhu, to blame John Kagushia, to blame Jane Kehara, to blame Mukonji, to blame all leaders who are popular in Central Kenya region, hoping and believing that the people of Central Kenya and believe that their leaders who are very popular and who are loved by the people had organized violence against them. This is what has happened. The people of that region are very enlightened as we speak today. And William Ruto drove a narrative and made the people of Central Kenya hate Uhuru Kenyatta. He said he's a drunkard, he's useless, he's this and that. And the people of Mount Kenya, I included, believed him. We turned against Uhuru Kenyatta and hated him. The people of that region have made a decision. They will never hate their leader. They will never turn against their leader. They have seen through that scheme that was done on Wednesday to target their businesses and then try to blame their leaders. Yeah, you know, even they were trying to say today, Kipchumba Murkomen was telling DCI, go and arrest Rigathi Gachagua, arrest Gakuya, arrest Major Dong, so that the Kikuyu people can believe that Rigathi Gachagua and Major Dong and Gakuya are the ones who touched property belonging to the Kikuyu. The Kikuyu people are very intelligent. William Ruto, the people see through you. You came and conned them. You turned them against their own son, Uhuru Kenyatta. You are not going to do it again. This time, they have seen through you. The government touched and raided businesses belonging to Kikuyu people on Wednesday, deliberately, under police guard, so that they can come and take the popular leaders in the region and blame them, hoping that they can hate Rigathi Gachagua, they can hate Medho, they can hate the other leaders, and prove back to William Ruto. William Ruto, let me tell you.
But there's been allegations,
whatever little chance that existed, that the mountain could ever listen to you. The events of Wednesday, of looting businesses owned by the Mount Kenya people, of torching them, of getting police to supervise the looting of their businesses, and then trying to blame their sons through parliament. That thing in parliament, it was a charity because, Michelle, if Rigathi Gachagua has broken the law, it is not parliament to say. You know, if Medho has broken the law, it is not parliament to say. It is not parliament to ask police to take action. If Kimani Ichung'wah, his father, was to be attacked, does he go to cry in parliament, or he goes and record a statement and say, Michelle or so-and-so came to attack my father? That was a stage-managed thing in parliament to try to persuade the people of Mount Kenya that all the businesses that were looted at night under police supervision, on the instructions of the government, they wanted to blame me and other people. We see through you. And I've told them, come and arrest me today. Go and arrest Kakuya. Go and arrest Major Dom.
So you don't fear arrest?
We don't fear the arrest. But all I can tell them, the people of our region and our supporters kept quiet when they removed us from office. I am a very peaceful man. I asked my people, please don't take any action. You are very unhappy with what William Ruto has done to us as a community by taking our seat, by embarrassing us. Please just sing. But I am saying, I no longer have the control of my supporters. They are angry, and any attempt to harass us, any attempt to intimidate us, will be dealt with by the people. I can tell you, he conned bishops, he conned reverends, he conned pastors, he conned all of us. He cannot do it a second time. This whole thing of Wednesday was a scheme by William Ruto to touch businesses belonging to the Mount Kenya people, loot them, and then try to blame it on their leaders so that they can hate us the way they hated the whole Kenyatta. Evidence do you need, Michelle? These businesses were touched when police are watching. These policemen belong to the government. What other evidence do you need? I'm asking, since Wednesday, Michelle, how many goons have been arrested? Protesters in Kerugoya were arrested, 25 are taken to court. The goons who touched a supermarket in Kerugoya have not been arrested. The goons who touched things in Nyeri have not been arrested. The people who touched things here in Nairobi and looted, they have not been arrested because they cannot be arrested because they were sponsored by the government. And everybody knows. And I want to tell my friend William Ruto, when you are in a hole, my brother, you stop digging. Don't dig deeper. You have persecuted our community. You have humiliated our community. You now have a scheme on how to destroy their businesses and try to blame their leaders, and then you want to persecute their leaders. The wall you are starting with the mountain and the people of Kenya, you will not be able to control it. You go ahead and do what you want to do. Kipchumba Murkomen, you say you want to arrest me tonight, please just go ahead. I'm here, you know where I am. You don't even have to wait for this interview, you can come after this. But I want to tell you, the people have had enough. You know, this persecution of the community, this humiliation of the community is too much, you know, and I don't think it's going to happen again. And the people are not going to allow it because where it has reached now, it's just too much, you know. How do you organize goons to destroy businesses belonging to a community that voted you into office under police supervision? Property must be protected, and if police had protected property, not kill protesters, protect property. Protect life and property. Don't take away life, either of the protesters or of ordinary people, and protect their property. That was my position. Police must use their arms to protect life and property, not to take away life. That was my position. The protest. It's a 2023 protest. And he did a good job in protecting life and property, you know, to make sure that property is not looted in Nairobi. And that was a good job. And even the police in this one, had they protected property, life and property, I would still say kudos. That is my position. But you do remember, Michelle, the Gen Z protest of 2024 is what created a very serious wedge between me and President William Ruto. Because I took a very firm position that these young people should be heard and what they are saying has merit. And I disagreed with the president in a discussion between me and him, and I told him that I disapprove of use of force against young people, and I did urge him to listen to them and consider doing away with the finance bill of 2024, which he refused. And when a decision was made to deal with these young people, I disagreed. And when the president insisted, and these young people were massacred on June 25, 2024, the following day on June 26, if you remember, as deputy president, I called a press conference in Mombasa and disassociated myself from the actions of the president and the government. And I was a sitting deputy president. And I said, I don't agree. The president had said these young people are criminals. I say they are not criminals. These are our children. These are my sons and daughters. They have a legitimate concern and they should not be massacred. And that created a very big problem between me and the president, and he was very offended. And he started in earnest to embark on how to get me out of office, which he successfully did on October 18th. But that was what broke the camel's back. And I told him off, and I disassociated myself from the killing of Jency, and I was in office. So let nobody say that Rigathi Gachagua is siding with the Jency or saying they should not be killed because he's out of office. I am on record, and videos are there, that I took a position in support of our young people when I was in office. I did. I did not support the use of excessive force. What I said, and I would repeat it any other day, the police have a duty to protect life and property, you know. And I asked the IG, please protect property. And you remember what we saw on Wednesday did not happen in 2023. We asked the police, and I was in the forefront, that in any situation when there is unrest, when there is civil disobedience, when there is peaceful protest, in whatever circumstance, the police have a duty to protect life and property. That is my position. It is true as it was then, it is true as it is today. Had the police allowed the peaceful protest and then protect destruction of property from goons, we will not be speaking what we are speaking here today. I would still be saying the police have done a nice job had they protected property as they should. It's the height of impunity and arrogance by the Ruto administration and people who are close to him. Kipchumba Murkomen is a young, excited cabinet secretary, full of himself because of money and power. He cannot, against the law, give instructions to police to shoot, to kill. To start with, when he was in Senate, he said that the National Police Service is independent and he cannot give them directions on what to do. Then here again, he is asking the police to shoot, to kill anybody within the vicinity of a police station. To start with, a police station is a public institution, and members of public have every right to go to a police station. Even where you are protected areas like State House and installations of the Department of Defense, if people turn up there, you don't shoot them. You find out why they are there and arrest them if they are there for interior motive and charge them. Again, let me tell police officers. I had Kipchumba Murkomen telling police officers to shoot people and he'll protect them. That is a lie. And they should not believe him. And I want to tell the police officers, they have seen what has happened. The police officers who tortured and killed Albert Ojwang today are in custody. They are caught on their own. They are facing murder charges. Yet the man who gave them instructions is at home doing his own things. Let me tell the police officers in our country, they are my brothers and sisters, they are my sons and daughters. Please follow the law. Don't take that stupid instruction from Kipchumba Murkomen seriously, because you shoot somebody, you'll be arrested and taken to court. And I have told police officers to be very careful. I worked with William Ruto and people close to him. They are users. They'll use you, and when things get out of hand, they'll sacrifice you at high noon. I want to urge all police officers across the country not to agree to obey unlawful orders, not to agree to break the law. And I want to guide them for the last time. The work of our police officers, I was an officer in the security sector, is guided by 4 documents that are very, very important. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, the Penal Code Cap 63, the Criminal Procedure Code Cap 75, and Evidence Act Cap 80. Those 4 documents should guide any police officer in this country. And anytime they are told to do something by their superiors, they should refer to those 4 documents. And if they find that whatever they are being asked to do is contrary to what is contained in those 4 documents, they must politely tell their seniors they are not able to do it. And if their seniors insist, they should ask for something in writing. They should ignore what Kipchumba has said. Kipchumba Murkomen is those young boys around William Ruto with a bloated ego, with a lot of arrogance, with a lot of impunity. And I had problems initially when William Ruto wanted to appoint Kipchumba Murkomen as CS Interior when we just came in. And I told him this job requires somebody a little bit mature, somebody who can be able to regulate the security sector with a bit of knowledge and understanding and calmness.
Okay, let's hold
the way he is going, we are going to have a lot of problems in the security sector.
Yes.
First and foremost, let me take this opportunity to send my condolences to the families of the 15 young people who are shot by police. Let me also, say sorry to all those who are injured, and let me also empathize with the business people who lost billions of shillings to looting and other activities that took place. Michelle, I don't have an answer to such a question because it is totally misinformed, and government people want to run away from the truth. And this government continues to sink in more trouble because of burying their head in the sand. Anytime Kenyans have expressed themselves about their dissatisfaction with the way the country is being run, the way the country is being governed, it is said that those people have been financed, they have been mobilized, they have been incited, and therefore they will never address the real problem. What happened on Wednesday, Michelle, was the first anniversary of the Gen Z massacre of 2024 that was presided over by William Ruto and executed by Kithure Kindiki. And you know for sure judicial killings. The Gen Z protests of 2024 was a spontaneous reaction by young people protesting, the issues of the Finance Bill 2024, mismanagement of the country, corruption, and general impunity that has been exhibited by this administration. The president then, under the pressure of the Gen Z, undertook to address all the issues that the Gen Zs had raised. But once he was able to bring Raila on his side, and he got the political comfort that with Raila Odinga he doesn't need anybody else and nobody else can threaten his rule, he backtracked on all the issues that have been raised. And a lot of impunity has been exhibited in this country. And when it came to the first year anniversary, the young people once more came out. Michelle, the Gen Z protests do not need anybody to finance them. The Gen Zs are leaderless, they are tribeless, they have no structure, they have no organization. And again, Michelle, I think it is really playing around with the people of Kenya to imagine that Rigathi Gachagua or anybody else can coordinate activities in 26 counties at the same time. And the issue is this, the question one must ask yourself, and that is why the government must stop taking people for granted. If these activities were planned, we have the National Intelligence Service. Where were they? If they did not know, then they slept on the job. They are not supposed to be in office. If they knew and did nothing about it, again, they are guilty of failing to stop anarchy and violence. But from where I sit, Michelle, the protests were very peaceful. The Gen Zs were not violent. They had water, they had smartphones. The violence was brought about by infiltration by goons who looted shops, escorted by police. You have seen videos all over, thugs creating mayhem as police watch. You have seen videos, some thugs arriving in police vehicles, So, and as we speak today, many protesters were arrested, others were killed. Not a single goon was shot or arrested. As we speak, this happened on Wednesday. Today is Friday. All the people who looted shops, videos are there, the images are clear. None has been arrested. That a CS Interior is walking in the streets of Nairobi in the morning, and you are saying that was an attempted coup. If they had intelligence that goons had been paid by Rigathi Gachagua or anybody else, why didn't they arrest these goons? If these were my goons, I want to tell you, Michelle, today they would have been shot dead. They would be in custody. Why, if they had intelligence that Rigathi Gachagua or anybody else for that matter had paid goons to come and cause chaos in Nairobi, why didn't they act on that intelligence? Why did they supervise the goons wreaking havoc in the streets of Nairobi? How did they allow goons to go to a police station unarmed and take over a police station. And they had the intelligence. I think the CS Interior must respect the people of Kenya. People are not that stupid, you know. It is very evident that in Nairobi, the Rio Goons came after 6 p.m. and downtown, River Road, Nyamakema, Taveta Road, Lithuri Avenue. The havoc, the looting was done in darkness under police supervision. Why were these guns not shot? Why were these thugs not shot? Why were they not arrested? And if anybody had funded them, the first evidence would have been to arrest those people, and then they can give information as to who had funded them. Right. Why would a government let goons create mayhem under their supervision, under their very eyes, for a whole day, for the whole night without taking any action? It's not my responsibility to stop goons from going to Nairobi. It is not my responsibility to arrest goons. That is the responsibility of government. These are people who are paid by taxpayers to make sure that they protect life and property. It is not the work of Gachagua to go to the streets of Nairobi and protect life and property. I don't have such capacity. That is the work of the government. And they cannot shift blame and start saying, no, these goons were organized by so and so. Why did you allow them to terrorize Kenyans? Why did you allow them to loot property? What have you done since they did that? You know, even as you are looking for whoever could have sent them, why didn't you deal with them on the spot? Because you have seen videos, Michelle. Goons raiding supermarkets as police watch. You have seen videos, goons having conversation with police officers. You saw during the demonstrations against the death of Albert Ojwang, goons singing praises in the praise of Governor Nairobi outside City Hall. Today, it is now 2 weeks. None has been arrested. Those images are there. That is not in a police vehicle. Who owns that police vehicle? That is the state. If you see goons wreaking havoc and police are just watching, you don't need rocket science to know who has sponsored the goons. You know, if goons are wreaking havoc the whole day and none has been arrested, it's obvious who has brought those goons, because the government cannot arrest their own goons. If these goons were brought by the opposition, as they are alleging, Michelle, all of them would be custody, they would be in court. But these goons have not been arrested, and they cannot be arrested because they were brought by the state. I didn't want to join the protests. First and foremost, during the 2024 protests, the Gen Z asked us, the leaders, the elders, to keep off the protests. And that is as it should be, because they don't want to be owned by anybody, because they are not at the direction of anybody. They are not financed by anybody. These are our young people who are bright, who are intelligent, who are innovative, who are doing their own things. I think if I had turned up in the streets on Wednesday, it would have given credence to those very ridiculous accusations that I'm the one who finances Gen Zs. I deliberately kept off because the Gen Zs had asked us to keep off. Again, I have nothing to do with it. I'm not their leader, I'm not their financier. I just support them morally. You know, I am in support of their cause, that we shouldn't have abductions, we shouldn't have extrajudicial killings. But I had no business, you know, going to join them in the streets, because that is their thing. And it is leaderless, it is tribalist, it is not political. It is something by our young people as part of their patriotic duty and civic duty to have the country, you know, run in the right direction. We are not political rejects, because the people of Kenya never rejected me. It's William Ruto who rejected me. Justin Mutuli was not rejected by the people of Kenya. He was rejected by William Ruto. Mithika Linturi was rejected by William Ruto. It's only William Ruto who rejected us. William Ruto is not the equivalent of the people of Kenya. That anybody he has a problem with is a reject. And you must ask yourself, where is the problem here? These are all people who supported William Ruto. But he has disagreed with all of them, and he says they are incompetent. According to him, he is the only one who is competent. But you must ask yourself here, who is competent? Because after I have left, nothing has changed. After Kuria left, nothing has changed. Muturi has left, nothing has changed. Linturi has left, nothing has changed. What is the common denominator here in terms of failure? It's William Ruto in matters incompetence. When he came in as president, we had a working health system. Today it has collapsed. When he came in, we had a working university financing model. It has collapsed. When he came in, roads were going on across Kenya. They have all stored. So in matters incompetence, it's William Ruto who is incompetent. But he's very quick. It's like in the streets when pickpockets or fellows who do mugging, you know, they would steal something from you, then shout, thief, 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 thief. That is what William Ruto does to hide his own incompetence. He has changed his cabinet 4 times. Nothing has changed. So what is the common denominator? That there is failure in government in Kenya, that nothing is working. So you cannot say that we have been rejected by who? We have been rejected by one person, and as it works, the people of Kenya are also rejecting him because with the time they have realized where the problem is. ANC are very bright people. They are marvelous young people. I have such tremendous respect for them. You know, they'll know who they can trust in this country. The Gen Z know at their lowest moment, when they were being killed and massacred by William Ruto and Kithure Kindiki, when everybody was demonizing them, when William Ruto was calling them criminals, who came to stand for them? It was Rigathi Gachagua. I sacrificed my job as deputy president, a very good job with the parks, with security, with all obedience, you know, and I said, I want to start with these children. And I attracted the wrath of William Ruto for starting with these young people. It's these young people, the Gen Z, who will look at the whole political landscape and will decide where they want to place their trust. And I think they are intelligent enough to know what they want to do. I don't want to force myself on the Gen Z. All the time I'm being accused of funding them or financing them, you know. And what has happened is that the Gen Z have appreciated me and accepted me because I'm always being accused of being their leader, of being the one who is financing them, who is doing this and that. But all I have done is stand with them and stand for them, and I'll continue to do so. And I'm sorry, I'm told that they have taken away the security of Chief Justice David Maraga because of appearing to support the Gen Zs. That is how petty this administration is. That is Kipchumba Murkomen. If somebody is seen in the streets, you know, it's democracy. Going to show solidarity with the Gen Zs is part of our democracy. Now, taking away the security of David Maraga because he was in the streets, you know, it's a lot of, it's pettiness. It's very petty. Matters of a retired president, nobody lesser than the person of the president can make a decision about their lives. Okay? There is nobody who can withdraw the security of Uhuru Kenyatta without asking William Ruto. There is nobody who can touch his farm without asking William Ruto. It's as short as that. And you know, William Ruto knew what he planned, and then he went out of the country so that it could look like we are the ones who are doing it. But I want to tell you from practice, and you can find out, matters to do with a retired president are decided by the president himself, and that settles the matter as to who could be responsible in doing this or not.
Gachagua do that he can take power through an unorthodox means. Gachagua must be arrested as early as tomorrow.
Why is the country angry?
And I will not stay silent regarding Gachagua. Hiyo supermarket ambayo imeharibiwa jana ni supermarket imeajiri watu wa Embu.
Maduka kuvunjwa na tunasema yote ikome, na yule naibu rais wetu wa zamani ambaye aningatulia kwa ofisini kwa kufukuzwa akamatwe apelekwe mahakamani.
Hello and welcome. If there is one political mistake that William Ruto has ever done in his entire 5 years of politics, is the attempt to destroy and politically finish his former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2022 general election, over 5 million votes from the Mount Kenya region helped William Samoei Ruto clinch the presidency, courtesy of Rigathi Gachagua's influence in the region. Today, as we speak, the same region is slipping away from the grip of William Samoei Ruto. Since his impeachment, Rigathi Gachagua's political muscle has not only remained intact, but it has grown from a regional mobilizer and is slowly transforming into a national figure. His name, as we speak now, carries weights across counties, and his messaging has grown beyond the traditional gamer stronghold. Listening to the members of parliament debate yesterday in parliament, one could clearly depict a well-choreographed plan being hatched from William Ruto's camp. The plan is not political, the plan is personal, and the aim is to arrest Rigathi Gachagua and link him to the 25th June Gen Z protest that resulted in massive destruction of properties countrywide.
The country is angry because the youth do not have a job. The country is angry because there's overtaxation. The country is angry because the government has refused to listen to them. Yesterday it was Raila. Today you are saying it's Gachagua. What I want to tell you is this: unless we address the core issues affecting this country.
Shame on you, Chief Justice Maraga. You're currently on pension paid by the government. They pay for your cars, they pay for your gardener, they pay for your cook, and then you go to the streets to demonstrate and mislead our children, to destroy people's properties. Shame on you.
I want to say this in conclusion finally, that what happened yesterday was an attempt to take over power unconstitutionally, to do a coup on the governance, on the government of the Republic of Kenya. We lost an election as ODM. We disputed the election. We went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court told us you have lost the election. We abided by the decision of the Supreme Court. We never attempted to overthrow the government. What the hell can this Rigathi Gachagua do that he can take power through an orthodox means? Gachagua must be arrested as early as tomorrow.
Yule ambaye anaandaa maandamano ni yule ambaye alikuwa naibu wetu wa rais akang'atuliwa kwa kufukuzwa ofisini kwa kuwa mkabila, na anajaribu kutumia kabila lake kuleta taharuki kwa kutisha na kuharibu mali ya wale ambao pengine nafikiria hawamuungi mkono kisiasa, ili atumie umwagikaji wa damu wa vijana wetu majenzi ili kunusura jahazi lake la kisiasa ambalo tayari limekwisha zama.
Kwa hivyo unasema maandamano haya si vijana ambao wanapanga, ila kuna wanasiasa ndani?
Si vijana ambao wanapanga maandamano. Na hii maandamano si kwamba ni maandamano ya vijana wa Gen Z. Hii ni maandamano ya wahuni ambao wamekuja kupora, kuharibu mali ya umma. Hakuna maandamano yanafanywa hadi usiku, saa 2 ya usiku, saa 3 ya usiku, na maandamano ambayo yamekita mizizi katika maeneo ya kati. Kule ndio mijengo mingi ya serikali imechomwa, mali ya wananchi imeporwa, maduka kuvunjwa, na tunasema yote ikome, na yule naibu rais wetu wa zamani ambaye aningatulia kwa ofisini kwa kufukuzwa akamatwe, apelekwe mahakamani.
In these demonstrations, ladies and gentlemen, the government conveniently allowed chaos to spiral in areas dominated by Kikuyu community. Like, for example, in Nyeri County, ladies and gentlemen, and specifically in Nyeri town, goons were allowed to loot an entire Naivas supermarket without the intervention of the police. For goons to be able to evacuate an entire Naivas stores without any police officer showing up, it tells you one thing, that this was not by accident, but it was by design. And as I always put it on this platform, that in politics, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is by coincidence. Nothing just happened like that. But everything is well planned and orchestrated. The government painted these protests as Kikuyu-led protests and violent in nature. But the question we are asking is, why will they do that? And why do they want to arrest Rigathi Gachagua and link him to the violence and destructions of property that happened on 25th June?
There was a great success in terms of the police work, even though the destruction that went all the way to almost midnight. All these goons who are brought all the way from Muranga, some of them are brought from Nyeri, some were brought from Kirinyaga, most of these goons were left in town. Some were left in Thika Road. And so as they were going back home, they caused immense havoc last night in Thika town, looting people's businesses, mugging people, robbing people in Thika town, and some on their way to Kajiado also caused a lot of havoc on their way. So, and the police were really overwhelmed because now they were doing some of this work in darkness, especially some who, on the onset of this darkness, they came back to the roads to try to rob motorists and other citizens. It has not been easy when such number of goons and criminals and thieves and thugs and robbers are concentrated in one area, collected by these politicians. It's not easy for the police officers to be able to maintain law and order.
Before we dive too deep into this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Take 1 second, hit the subscription button, smash that notification bell, and also press the like button. By doing like that, you help me to reach a broader audience, which is my main objective on this platform. And thank you so much for those who have already subscribed to the channel, because without you, ladies and gentlemen, this channel could not be where it is. A very big thank you from me and the entire team here at Siasa 254. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, the plan of the government is to set Rigathi Gachagua against the Kikuyu business community people by blaming him for the pains these businessmen have suffered in the destructions in Nairobi and other Kikuyu-based communities. We all understand, like for example, in Nairobi, ladies and gentlemen, most of the businesses are owned by the Kikuyu. And so, by blaming Gachagua for the pain that was felt by the businessmen in Nairobi CBD and other Kikuyu counties, ladies and gentlemen, the government's intention is for the business people to stop supporting Rigathi Gachagua either financially or on the ground.
If this person claims to speak about for Mount Kenya people, this is the time we want to hear about those people who lost businesses in town, those people that have suffered on the speaker. And there is no question about it. Honorable Rigathi Gachagua must be arrested. And all the politicians that work under him, they should be arrested and investigated, because we saw some of them moving around and claiming that they are supporting this movement called Gen Z, which is a lie, Honorable Speaker. There is no movement called Gen Z. These are criminals. There is nothing like that. There is nothing called Gen Z, Honorable Speaker. Those are people hiding behind a generation.
But we are tired of your style of politics. You look at what has happened in Nairobi. Who is suffering today in Nyamakema? Who is suffering today in Kirinyaga Road, River Road? Sini watu wetu, jameni. So how can you claim to like your people, to support your people who you proudly call my people of Mount Kenya, and yet you are the one leading in destruction of their own businesses?
Secondly, the plan and the aim is to erode the credibility and legitimacy of the future Gen Z protests by labeling them as chaotic, destructive, and tribal in nature. By arresting a top political figure and linking him to the destructions on 25th June, the government intends to instill fear and suppress the youth movement. That, and this is the biggest objective of the government, ladies and gentlemen, in all this chaos in demonstrations. The aim is to divert the public attention away from the ongoing and rampant police brutalities in the country. The government knows very well that it has already lost public trust, and if not the entire trust, severely lost public trust. And instead of accountability, the government seeks this distraction of attention. By arresting Rigathi Gachagua, it will dominate the headlines and shift the attention of publics from questions on abductions, police shootings, and matters that have been orchestrated by the state. This is not just a political drama or a video, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very dangerous game that is going to cost William Ruto the votes of Kenyans that made him the president in 2022. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to see what's your view on the plot to arrest Rigathi Gachagua. Why do you think the government want to arrest Rigathi Gachagua and link him to the destruction of property that happened on 25th June 2025? Let's see that in the comment section below. And if you're there and you're watching, you're yet to subscribe, kindly hit the subscription button, smash notification bell, and also like this video. Let me see you in our next video. Bye bye.
What I'm about to say may sound insensitive, but this is the truth. Parliament is 2 kilometers from State House. For the first time since 1962, Parliament was overrun. What happened? How did we get here? Who knew what? We have swept too much under the carpet. It's now time to lift that carpet and be truthful in the way in which we deal with the country. Whether we start with Musandu, we come to Jacob Juma, we come to Kenei, we come to Rivayala and everything else. Let these things be investigated by an open public inquest.
Ever since the former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i made his 2027 presidential ambitions public, the political heat in the country has escalated to an extent that William Samoei Ruto and his camp has not been able to hold back. They have consistently dragged Matiang'i's name into the murky water of Rivayala killings.
Wakaambua kazi yenu badala ya kuchukua watoto wa watu kama unamshuku na kumpeleka kotini, walikuwa wanapiga risasi wanatupa kwa mto Yala. Rais William Ruto wakati alifika ametupilia mbali kikosi hicho, sababu yeye ni mtu anaamini Mungu na anajua maisha iko na thamani.
Trying to tie his name to the extrajudicial killings that happened during the Ruto era. For those of you who have forgotten what happened during the Yala killings, bodies with signs of torture were found in River Yala.
Between July 2021 and January 2022, police reports show that tens of Kenyans were abducted, tortured and murdered, with their decomposing bodies later discovered in different parts of the country. No words could explain the monstrous killings.
The body had some visible tortures.
Wameuawa kifo ya unyama vibaya sana.
That 5-year-old Peter Mutuku and that 6-year-old Philemon Chepkonyi were victims of the killings.
Alikuwa ametoa ulimi like this.
Hatukuwa tukiexpect tunapata bradhangu kwa moka.
Their remains were among 36 bodies retrieved from River Yala.
It looks like they were eliminated somewhere out of the county.
Body inawekwa kwa gunia, inashonwa mzuri.
Some of them are maroon, having their eyes closed.
The families have since buried their kin, and no one seems to be giving Kenyans an answer on the underworld dealing behind the unfortunate killings.
I do miss him every day. Bado inatuumizanga sana. Ni uchungu.
Haji to come out clearly and tell Kenya why they are killing people in Nairobi and dropping people in River Yala.
It is estimated that over 60 bodies were dumped there. Residents at a time reported that pickups and probox could bring people at night and dump them there, others in sacks. That's how bad the situation was during that time. But now, ladies and gentlemen, what seems to be a political retaliatory explosion, Fred Matiang'i has fired back to William Ruto, vowing to expose what he called the faces behind some of Kenya's most controversial extrajudicial assassinations.
When you wake up in the morning, when you saw the things you saw yesterday, how can you assume that we don't have a problem in the country? Tuko na shida. And the sooner we all accepted that we have a problem, the better. Tuko na shida, let us find solution to this. You know, going around and assuming that everything is fine and dandy, and then now we spend time, managing government by blogging. It cannot work like that. We cannot have government by blogging. Let's focus on the issues that we need to deal with. Let us address the lives of our people, and this issue should be investigated. We have swept too much under the carpet. It's now time to lift that carpet and be truthful in the way in which we deal with the country. Whether we start with Musandu, we come to Jacob Juma, we come to Kenei, we come to Rivayala and everything else. Let these things be investigated by an open public inquest.
Like those ones of Sergeant Kibuyekon Kenei, an AP police officer who was attached to the office of the then Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, and also the murder of Chris Musando, an IEBC official, and in this case, the director of ICT, the person who held the voters register and the fingerprints to the register machines. He also vowed to expose the faces behind the killings of a businessman from Bungoma, Jacob Juma. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move too deep into explaining why this move by Fred Matiang'i could be too dangerous politically for William Samoei Ruto, allow me to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Take a moment, hit the subscription button, smash the notification bell, and press the like button on this video. By doing like that, ladies and gentlemen, you help me to reach a wider audience. And for those who have already subscribed to the channel, I say thank you. For without you guys, this channel could not be where it is at the moment. Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei was a disciplined administration police officer and the head of security personnel at William Samoei Ruto's office, then the vice president at Arambe House Annex. He was found murdered in his home, in his own house, in Imara Daima in Nairobi. His death initially was investigated as a suicide case, but later on, the then DCI George Kinoti found out that it was a brutal murder.
We have endeavored to give some illustrations of how the body was found and the possible way we could have expected in the event this was suicide. Was the scene, the way it was found, consistent with the allegation that he committed suicide?
Ladies and gentlemen, before his murder, just a day before the day he was killed, Sergeant Kenei was supposed to appear before the DCI to record a statement on the appearance of the then CS4 Sports, Rashid Echesa, who was implicated in a 40 billion arms scandal that also involved the office of the Deputy President then, William Samoei Ruto. Kenei was to record a statement a day before he was killed. It was assumed that Kenei knew a lot in this case and his elimination was to be permanent. And then comes now the case of Jacob Juma, a vocal businessman and a very fierce government critic who had on several occasions through his social media posts made it clear that William Ruto was about to eliminate him. On May 6th, 2016, his bullet-riddled body was found lying in a pool of blood along Ngong Road.
Mei tarehe 5 katika barabara ya Lenana saa 3:30 za usiku. Milio ya risasi yasikika kwa mujibu wa baadhi ya watu waliokuwepo. Dakika chache baadaye, gari aina ya Mercedes Benz nambari ya usajili KAL 007W lapatikana pembeni mwa barabara. Ndani ya gari mwili wa mfanyabiashara mashuhuri Jacob Juma Lukoba mwenye umri wa miaka 45 ukiwa na alama 7 za risasi.
He died at a time when he was exposing serious corruption scandals and political betrayals within the government. His relatives and the opposition at that time blamed senior government officials for the death of Jacob Juma, and Ruto's name surfaced in this matter. Finally comes the death of Chris Musando, the man who was entrusted with Kenya's rural IT infrastructure. He was found murdered days before the 2027 general election. His killing raised a lot of red flags on election rigging and the chilling elimination of election truth bearers.
The murder of Chris Musando, who was IBC's IT director, is a cold-hearted crime that goes very high up. IBC and Jubilee are partners in this murder.
Fred Matiang'i, who was the Interior Cabinet Secretary during that time, and with access to security and intelligence classified files, is now threatening to spill the beans and bring the truth to light. If there is any killings, any information that was hidden about these killings, then Matiang'i is about to spill the beans. But what does this really mean for William Ruto politically? Number one, to William Ruto, this portrays him as a man with Kenyans' blood on his hand and unfit to hold the office of the president. On the other hand, to Matiang'i, this depicts him as a whistleblower and not a victim, as the William Ruto Samoei camp is trying to portray him. In your own opinion, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section below, let me see what is your thoughts on this move by Fred Matiang'i to spill the beans and reveal the real faces behind the most controversial extrajudicial killings in Kenya during the Ruto regime time. Let's keep the conversation going in the comment section. And if you have watched this video to this end, kindly subscribe if you are here to do so, like this conversation, and also press that subscription button to help this channel reach a wider audience. And thank you for those who have already done that. Until next time, this is Siasa 254.
Sasa ile kitu important yenye Ruto anaweza kufanya ni kunyang'anya Babu Owino security, na mahali inaelekea sisi wenyewe ndio security wa Babu Owino, na tukisikia Babu Owino anakohoa tu ama kitu yoyote imemfanya, utakuwa responsibility ya kujibu.
Why did President William Ruto withdraw Babu Owino's security details after the MP was cheered by the Gen Z protesters in Nairobi? Is this just politics, or is Babu Owino now a real threat to the presidency in 2027? Let us analyze this. Why is Babu Owino sending shockwave to State House and giving William Ruto sleepless nights? What does this rising star then mean to Raila Amolo Odinga's succession politics in Luo Nyanza and the Gen Z politics and the leadership in the country, and also the Nairobi's gubernatorial seat battle in 2027? Ladies and gentlemen, while the Gen Zs were protesting in Nairobi yesterday, Babu Owino was welcomed like a hero, as you can see here in this video. This video alone, ladies and gentlemen, has sent shockwaves to William Ruto and camp and his ally, and they have gone ahead to withdraw Babu Wino's security. But what does the supporters of Babu Wino say about this?
Ana uliapia kwa maandamano na ukakua. Nimesikia security yako Ruto ametoa. Ati sasa ile kitu important yenye Ruto anaweza kufanya ni kunyang'anya Babu Wino security. Sasa wewe Ruto, mimi nauliza wewe, ni kama unyang'anye Raila Odinga security. Unajua siku nyingine ulikuwa umesema tunyang'anye baba security. Tukakwambia chukua yote, tutalinda baba. Sisi wenyewe ndio security wa baba. Na mahali inaelekea sisi wenyewe ndio security wa Babu Owino. Na tukisikia Babu Owino anakohoa tu ama kitu yoyote imemfanya, utakuwa responsibility ya kujibu. Utuambie, nataka Ruto atuambie ni katiba iko wapi kiongozi akienda maandamano ananyang'anywa security wake. Administrator ya Ruto pamoja na huyu Mkalenji ni internal security. Nani anaitwa Murkomen. Hizo vitu mnafanya nonsense. Fanyeni kitu ingine. Sisi vijana wa kijiji tutangoja Babu. Tunajua mko na nia mbaya na Babu. Tunajua mnaumwa kwa sababu Babu alikataa kuwa support.
William Ruto is afraid of Babu Wino. Number one is of course the Raila Molo Odinga's succession and the Luo Nyanza politics. We all understand that for years the Luo Nyanza politics has been controlled by one man, Raila Molo Odinga, and with the growing influence of Babu Wino and the oncoming 2020 general election, Ruto is afraid of Babu Wino because he is banking on the Luo vote, and not only just the Luo vote, but William Ruto is actually banking on the ODM-based supporters' votes to couple up with his own home votes to make it to the second term in 2027. So by Babu Wino emerging as the alternative for Raila Odinga, and we all know that Babu Wino has been very vocal, saying that he cannot support William Ruto, and that for any person to be able to support William Ruto, then he has to suppress his brain cells.
Sio ni bed based. Mimi nilikuwa nikikampenia baba Raila Molo Odinga. Si ni kweli? Lakini ili usupport Zakayo lazima ususpend brain cells. Siwezi suspend my brain cells. Hapo niliambia baba, hapo naye siwezi mimi nakuheshimu, mimi nilikukampenia, lakini siwezi support serikali ambayo inadhulumu maisha ya wananchi ya Kenya.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2027 is approaching, and we have seen the Raila Molo Odinga that people always called him Baba because he used to fight for the rights of Kenyans and defend them whenever the government was oppressing them, is now in bed-based government with William Ruto. And now the people, the supporters of Raila Odinga, a majority of them are not for the bed-based government. And therefore, they have been thinking of who can we follow, who can we revolve around now that Baba is in bed-based government with William Ruto. They first went to Orengo, but Orengo surrendered and betrayed the people. But now by Babu Wino emerging again, this is not just something that William Ruto can be comfortable with. Reason number two, ladies and gentlemen, is because of the Gen Z politics and leadership, I mean. We all know that the Gen Z is going to be a very critical player in determining who becomes the president in 2027. Because remember, the Gen Zs will even go ahead, apart from themselves deciding who to vote for, most of them will control their parents to also vote where they want to vote. And therefore, Babu Wino, the way he was welcomed by the protesters who are the Gen Zs, it means that he can rally them towards the cause. And if he is not supporting William Ruto, then it means that he's going to spoil for William Ruto and Raila Odinga. And the last reason, ladies and gentlemen, why I think that William Ruto withdrew the security of Babu Owino is because of the Nairobi politics. In the last election, ladies and gentlemen, William Ruto became the president of the Republic of Kenya because he was voted in by the Kikuyus, who were the majorities in the city. You cannot become a president who cannot command the capital city. For you to be the president, you have to make sure that you win the support of Nairobi County. And therefore, with the falling Sakaja, Ruto is in panic because Babu Owino's influence in Nairobi has grown beyond any other person's stoppage. Nobody can stop him at this time. And this gives William Ruto sleepless nights, ladies and gentlemen, because he wants to clinch on Nairobi when he succeeds to go for his second term. So the politics of Nairobi, the Sakaja and Babu Owino is making William Ruto scared. And that's why he is trying to intimidate Babu Owino by withdrawing his security. And like Okanga says, that even if he withdrew the entire security, then the people of Nairobi will become the security personnel and details for one Babu Owino. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the reasons why I think the security of the MP Babu Owino was withdrawn. In the comment section, let me see what you think about the growing influence of Babu Owino not only in the city but also in the Luo-Nyanza. Do you think Babu Owino can become the successor of Raila Odinga? Can he become the kingpin in waiting for the Nyanza region? Because Orengo has surrendered to William Ruto. Raila surrendered, but Babu Owino is still standing. Let me see your take in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time in our next video, this is Siasa 254. Subscribe, like, and comment to support us to reach a wider audience. Until next time.
What I'm about to say may sound insensitive, but this is the truth. Parliament is 2 kilometers from State House. For the first time since 1962, Parliament was overrun. What happened? How did we get here? Who knew what? We have swept too much under the carpet. It's now time to lift that carpet and be truthful in the way in which we deal with the country. Whether we start with Musandu, we come to Jacob Juma, we come to Kenei, we come to Rivayala and everything else. Let these things be investigated by an open public inquest.
Ever since the former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i made his 2027 presidential ambitions public, the political heat in the country has escalated to an extent that William Samoei Ruto and his camp has not been able to hold back. They have consistently dragged Matiang'i's name into the murky water of Rivayala killings.
Wakaambua kazi yenu, badala ya kuchukua watoto wa watu kama unamshuku na kumpeleka kotini, walikuwa wanapiga risasi, wanatupa kwa mto Yala. Rais William Ruto wakati alifika, ametupilia mbali kikosi hicho sababu yeye ni mtu anaamini Mungu na anajua maisha iko na dhamani.
Trying to tie his name to the extrajudicial killings that happened during the Ruto era. For those of you who have forgotten what happened during the Yala killings, bodies with signs of torture were found in River Yala.
Between July 2021 and January 2022, police reports show that tens of Kenyans were abducted, tortured and murdered, with their decomposing bodies later discovered in different parts of the country. No words could explain the monstrous killings.
The body had some visible tortures.
Wameuawa kifo ya unyama vibaya sana.
That 5-year-old Peter Mutuku and that 6-year-old Philemon Chepkonyi were victims of the killings.
Alikuwa ametoa ulimi like this.
Hatukuwa tukiexpect tunapata brother yangu kwa moka.
Their remains were among 36 bodies retrieved from River Yala.
It looks like they were eliminated somewhere out of the county.
Bodi inawekwa kwa gunia, inashonwa mzuri.
Some of them are maroon, having their eyes closed.
The families have since buried their kin, and no one seems to be giving Kenyans an answer on the underworld dealing behind the unfortunate killings.
I do miss him every day. Bado inatuumizanga sana sana, ni uchungu.
To IG to come out clearly and tell Kenya why they are killing people in Nairobi and dropping people in River Yala.
It is estimated that over 60 bodies were dumped there. Residents at a time reported that pickups and brobox could bring people at night and dump them there, others in sacks. That's how bad the situation was during that time. But now, ladies and gentlemen, in what seems to be a political retaliatory explosion, Fred Matiang'i has fired back to William Ruto, vowing to expose what he called the faces behind some of Kenya's most controversial extrajudicial assassinations.
When you wake up in the morning, when you saw the things you saw yesterday, how can you assume that we don't have a problem in the country? Tuko na shida. And the sooner we all accepted that we have a problem, the better. Tuko na shida, let us find solutions to this. You know, going around and assuming that everything is fine and dandy, and then now we spend time, managing government by blogging. It cannot work like that. We cannot have government by blogging. Let's focus on the issues that we need to deal with. Let us address the lives of our people, and this issue should be investigated. We have swept too much under the carpet. It's now time to lift that carpet and be truthful in the way in which we deal with the country. Whether we start with Musandu, we come to Jacob Juma, we come to Kenei, we come to River Yala and everything else. Let these things be investigated by an open public inquest.
Like those ones of Sergeant Kipyekon Kenei, an AP police officer who was attached to the office of the then Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, and also the murder of Chris Musando, an IEBC official, and in this case, the director of ICT, the person who held the voters register and the fingerprints to the register machines. He also vowed to expose the faces behind the killings of a businessman from Bungoma, Jacob Juma. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move too deep into explaining why this move by Fred Matiang'i could be too dangerous politically for William Samoei Ruto, allow me to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Take a moment, hit the subscription button, smash the notification bell, and press the like button on this video. By doing like that, ladies and gentlemen, you help me to reach a wider audience. And for those who have already subscribed to the channel, I say thank you. For without you guys, this channel could not be where it is at the moment. Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei was a disciplined administration police officer and the head of security personnel at William Samoei Ruto's office, then the Vice President at Arambe House Annex. He was found murdered in his home, in his own house, in Imara Daima in Nairobi. His death initially was investigated as a suicide case, but later on, the then DCI George Kinoti found out that it was a brutal murder.
We have endeavored to give some illustrations of how the body was found and the possible way we could have expected in the event this was suicide. Was the scene, the way it was found, consistent with the allegation that he committed suicide?
Ladies and gentlemen, before his murder, just a day before the day he was killed, Sergeant Kenei was supposed to appear before the DCI to record a statement on the appearance of the then CS4 Sports, Rashid Echesa, who was implicated in a 40 billion arms scandal that also involved the office of the Deputy President then, William Samoei Ruto. Kenei was to record a statement a day before he was killed. It was assumed that Kenei knew a lot in this case and his elimination was to be permanent. And then comes now the case of Jacob Juma, a vocal businessman and a very fierce government critic, who had on several occasions through his social media post made it clear that William Ruto was about to eliminate him. On May 6th, 2016, his bullet-riddled body was found lying in a pool of blood along Ngong Road.
Mei tarehe 5 katika barabara ya Lenana saa 3:30 za usiku. Milio ya risasi yasikika kwa mujibu wa baadhi ya watu waliokuwepo. Dakika chache baadaye, gari aina ya Mercedes Benz nambari ya usajili KAL 007W lapatikana pembeni mwa barabara. Ndani ya gari mwili wa mfanyabiashara mashuhuri Jacob Juma Lukoba mwenye umri wa miaka 45 ukiwa na alama 7 za risasi.
He died at a time when he was exposing serious corruption scandals and political betrayals within the government. His relatives and the opposition at that time blamed senior government officials for the death of Jacob Juma, and Ruto's name surfaced in this matter. Finally comes the death of Chris Musando, the man who was entrusted with Kenya's rural IT infrastructure. He was found murdered days before the 2027 general election. His killing raised a lot of red flags on election rigging and the chilling elimination of electoral election truth bearers.
The murder of Chris Musando, who was IBC's IT director, is a cold-hearted crime that goes very high up. IBC and Jubilee are partners in this murder.
Fred Matiang'i, who was the Interior Cabinet Secretary during that time, and with access to security and intelligence classified files, is now threatening to spill the beans and bring the truth to light. If there is any killings, any information that was hidden about these killings, then Matiang'i is about to spill the beans. But what does this really mean for William Ruto politically? Number one, to William Ruto, this portrays him as a man with Kenyan's blood on his hand and unfit to hold the office of the president. On the other hand, to Matiang'i, this depicts him as a whistleblower and not a victim, as the William Ruto Samoei camp is trying to portray him. In your own opinion, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section below, let me see what is your thoughts on this move by Fred Matiang'i to spill the beans and reveal the real faces behind the most controversial extrajudicial killings in Kenya during the Ruto regime time. Let's keep the conversation going in the comment section. And if you have watched this video to this end, kindly subscribe if you are here to do so, like this conversation, and also press that subscription button to help this channel reach a wider audience. And thank you for those who have already done that. Until next time, this is Siasa 254.